Hi, thanks so much for joining me for some tips and tricks I've learned from a makeup artist. If you'd like to see that, please keep watching. Welcome, and I know that many of you have recently joined us, so just really quickly, I post every Thursday morning. I've done that for many years now. If I have an extra video, then I'll usually throw it in at the beginning of the week, but you can expect at least one every Thursday. I hope to get 2 out more routinely because I enjoyed that. I was able to do that a few weeks back, so and really that's my goal. I focus on luxury beauty and also on newer items that have a new formula or something different about them. So those are the things you'll typically see come by. I also have some hyperpigmentation that I'm always dealing with. So any of those techniques and products that help with that are things that I integrate. So I recently had my makeup done by a professional makeup artist, and I love to ask questions and find out new techniques. And so they shared some with me, and I found them really interesting and kind of like, I wonder why I didn't think of that before or ever used that technique before, but you may already be familiar with them, but they were new to me and I thought I'd share them with you. So if you'd like to see that, please keep watching. I'm gonna go in with the Lip Beige. It's SPF 30 and it's in medium plus. It's really just easy to apply with the hands. Just have a little bit of a cool tone to it. This works really well when applied just straight onto the skin, almost like it's my moisturizer. That seems to work the best, but I do have a little bit of moisturizer on already. So if you like a skin-like finish and you want just a light to medium coverage, this is good. So if you have dry skin, you will like this product. If you have oily skin, I'm not quite sure how well you would get along with this, but yeah, dry skin, I think you'll like it. I have a really dry patch here right now too, so it's not emphasizing it, which is good. I'm just gonna take this, I've got the concealer in there. I'm just gonna use my hands to tap that in. By the way, let me slow down here. This is the Essential Palette in 160 Beige Medium. And I think this is almost a perfect concealer color, but I wish that I had a different choice with that shade for the blush. It looks great as a lip color, but not as a blush. So again, I'm just doing half so you can kind of see how they work. This is a pretty easy on-the-go palette just because it doesn't require much. You can just use your fingers and it turns out really nice. So the Sheer Glow that I just put on, that is a new product to me, but this one is not. I've had this for a couple months. So I've gone ahead with powders. I powdered under the eyes, again, with the Charlotte Tilbury, the one in medium, which is a staple for me, but I think I might need the lighter one. I also went in with the Chantecaille, the new one, in the center of my face. This one's a Perfect Blur finishing powder right here. I also did go around the perimeter with some of the Grwm Metorites in Goldenland as kind of a bronzer, really light bronzy color. Eyebrows, of course, Wonder Brow, Dior Show Pump and Brow, and then also my Dior pencil. I'll list those below. And then we'll go in with this. This is the Lip Beige in medium light. It's the one that has just the slightest bit of shimmer in it. Okay, so here's one of the tips. If you have texture or like pores, just avoid putting anything with shimmer on it. It can make it look a lot more pronounced. There's only one product I've used where that doesn't happen, and it's the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Radiant Light. I can put that in the middle of my face and not have a problem. Actually, it does help blur, but this accentuates it. So we actually went in with the very shimmery one at first, and the makeup artist ended up removing it because it was just too much. It was emphasizing pores too much. It just didn't look good. So I'm just going to apply this though to all of the parts of my face that aren't the center of my face. So right here. And it has the slightest sheen to it. It's kind of like a combination between the Hourglass powder and the Grwm Metorites. So it does a little bit of blurring and a little bit of sheen at the same time. I love this shade though. So if I could get this for the middle of my face, but in the matte color, I think that'd be really beautiful. So tip number 1, avoid the center of the face if you have pronounced pores and you want to use a shimmery product, just use it on the exterior. Let's go in with eyes next. Now, the products that they used on me were something that reminded me of things I already had, so I didn't need to pick them up, but start with a taupe eye. I think I read that somewhere too, that makeup artists that I follow starts with like a taupe base. So I'm taking the Chantecaille product. It's the Mermaid Eye Matte in Sylvie. I'll also link the one that they used on me at the counter. but I love this because it is just a really neutral, really easy product to use. So there it is. This is just a nice basic color. So one of the things he did was he looked at my hair color to see what other colors to pull in. So he saw like there's some blondish kinds of highlights in my hair, which I didn't think of as blonde, but I guess they are. So it was this like coppery goldy color, just applied right along the lash line. So I'm just gonna do that right here. And it was all very like soft, everyday kind of makeup. So nothing editorial or dramatic, but just pretty makeup. And this is the kind of makeup that you think of in terms of when you're speaking to someone face to face. You can see a lot more detail up close. So if you're wearing just like the slightest bit more makeup, it's very noticeable. So it's kind of like, not undetectable makeup, but it's very, it's just soft. And this is what I've done. So this is was not a new technique to me, but just taking this color, again, the copper, and then placing it in the waterline. We'll go in with a couple things just to kind of kick it up a notch and show you a couple of different ways you can subtly adjust the eye area. Now this one was new to me because I always use a black eyeliner to tightline. So he suggested using a brown one. So this is pretty deep in how brown it is, not the deepest. So this one's in espresso. And I know that many of you have recommended to me the Chanel eyeliners, so I'm starting to really explore those. I think I have like 3 now. So I'm going to apply this. I'm going to tightline with it. I'm going to run it above the lash line just slightly, really softly. It's kind of a cool brown too. This is actually a hard shade to find, I think. I looked at several different lines. I love the Marc Jacobs highliner, but I didn't find a color like this. I also love the Charlotte Tilbury one, but it was too dark. I'll show you what we can do that in a moment, but yeah, this is like a really nice, just again, neutral brown color. So I always use black mascara, but they suggested brown mascara for, again, something that's not used for photographs or filming, well, which I'm filming now, but this again is more like real, true to life makeup. So I'm gonna apply black mascara, but let me put some primer on first and then I'll come back with the mascara. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just apply the mascara. I'm not sure if this was the brown mascara that they had on me, but, or if there was a different one. So this is a really nice brown because it's dark, but it's not quite black either. So I did pick up a brown mascara from, I think it was Dior. It's a much lighter brown, so that's not really what I was looking for. So I would suggest if you want something that's a subtle difference from black, then this is a good brown shade. It almost reminds me of the shade of the eyeliner, the espresso. And I haven't used Chanel mascaras really in the past, so this is kind of my first experience with that. Oh, it's very lengthening though. I do have the Dior primer on though. I did apply that first. So we'll move on to the cheeks and lips, and then we'll go back and adjust the eyes a little bit too. This is this reminds me of other, well, they're long. This reminds me of other high-end mascaras where it's like a slow build. I notice I have to put on a few layers for it to get to where I want it to be. Okay, we're gonna let that kind of dry a little bit. I might go in with another layer after that, but I just wanna show you kind of like different intensities of makeup. Let's go in with the blush. Now, one of the other tips I found out was he asked to look at the palms of my hands, and you may know this already, but I didn't know that. But if you look at like the redder areas where you kind of have some coloring there, that's the color of blush. So whatever color you naturally blush will end up in your palm of your hand. So if you look at the palm of your hands and you have like a cool pink color, so if you go by that, if you have like me, a warmer color on your hand, then you'll want to go for a warmer blush. But if your pink color is like a cooler tone, then that'll help steer you towards whatever color for your cheeks. So we're gonna go ahead and add this. This is the Le Beige blush number 24. It has a little bit of shimmer in it. I was looking at it, but I'm not going to apply it straight onto my face. I'm going to take a brush and apply it. I said I love cream blush, but when I add it here, it lifts off the makeup. It does have something emollient in there that kind of breaks down that makeup. So I usually avoid cream blush there. So I said, what can I do? Because I love cream blush, but I can't put it here. And they said, don't put it there. So if you're like me, you love cream blush, but have trouble because it's lifting off your makeup in certain spots, and it sounds silly, but just avoid that area. So I'm gonna go as close as I can to it without actually applying makeup right there. So as you can see, it's very close to the color in the palm of my hand, this blush. For highlight, I'm just gonna use this multi-use stick in Golden Light. I did a vlog on this if you wanna take a look, but it's just a nice dewy kind of finish. But I'm gonna use my fingers to apply it because I've already powdered. I love that. It's just nice and healthy. It just has a glow, but it's like a hydrated glow. I think that's what makes it different than other things that glow. Sometimes you can get that glow from very fine shimmer, but the glow on this is more from the texture of it versus the actual reflective particles. It's been a really nice everyday kind of product. So let's go in with the lips, and then I'll go back to the eyes and kind of show you some phases you can get through depending on how intense you want your eye makeup to look. So they used a lip liner on me and it was beautiful. It's like one of the new formulas. I still have to pick that up, but it reminded me a lot of this Patrick Ta lip liner that I love. I'm gonna use that first. Let's go in now with that lipstick that I wasn't quite sure about, but I loved the way it looked once it was on. So this is in the shade Rosy Brown. It's that 90s supermodel color. Oh, and I learned that they used this because red lipstick in black and white photos was coming out across as like dark brown. So this was for use with both color and also black and white. It turned out that this lip color in black and white was really beautiful. So I found it interesting that this lip color came out because of the photography at that time and how they were using black and white photos and how makeup played with that. I did not expect to like this. What they did to kind of brighten this up just a little bit was take a lip gloss. It was like a light, just like this color. When I saw the color they used, I thought I have one like that, so I didn't need to buy it, but this is not, it's not available, I don't think. So I will put the one that they used on me below, but it's a nice shimmery, like a brighter pink to kind of warm it up. So this very neutral soft look goes with pretty much everything, I think, for any event. It just looks clean and fresh, very spring-like. But I am going to show you with the eyes some things you can do to just increase the drama and do some different things with it. Subtle though, these are gonna be subtle changes. So the first thing I'm going to do is just add a little bit of color to the corners. So I'm taking my Victoria Beckham and I'm going to take this brown color, this dark brown color, and one of you asked me to maybe hold this up higher, but I'm going to take this dark brown color and add it to the V. I haven't checked if my mascara is all over the place yet, but we're just gonna add it here in this V. I've got a Ray Morris pencil brush. I love a good pencil brush. This is the 9.1. Just fill in the corners. It's funny because I thought this is what I do anyway, so I'm glad that the techniques that I was seeing used on me are very much what I use on myself. So I'm going to show you an interesting thing that they did with my eyeliner. So if you notice, I haven't really gone into the crease at all today. What we're going to do is take the espresso again and line the bottom part. So I'm going to go over that shade that was there, and I'm going to just take this all the way across. So you could go in and do a shimmery shade in there, or you can just do this, and it's going to be kind of soft again. And I think this brown lends itself really quickly. You can see the big difference you get from this versus this. So I know sometimes they say dark eyeliner or eyeliner down there can close your eye up, but I feel like my eye looks bigger. So I really think it's how much you add, and probably has to do with the shape of your eye as well. And they say, stop at this certain point, but I'm going all the way to the inner corners. So I think it really comes down to just playing with makeup and seeing what works for you, because some of the, the do's and don'ts, they don't always apply. Okay, so yeah, just adding it on the bottom helps. And then, what I've never done before, then take a deeper eyeliner. So I've got the Rock and Coal Barbarella Brown by Charlotte Tilbury. This is almost black. They actually used one on me, I can't remember the name, but it's a blackish brown color, and you just add it to the outer, like I'm gonna say quarter to third of the eye. Just like this, and a little bit outside. So I'm just intensifying, just like you would with eyeshadow, but with the eyeliner. So again, that's something I've never tried before that I thought that was a really good idea. And it seems really obvious to do that because you do that with eyeshadow, but I just have never done it with eyeliner. I'm gonna add another coat of mascara while I let that kind of set in. But yeah, so there we go with the eyeliners. A little makeup making a big difference. I'm gonna add another coat of mascara. And then while I'm doing this, I was wearing some denim. I think I wore a black top and denim to this event where I had my makeup done. And he said, you want to do something fun with your makeup? And I was like, sure. So he took the cue from my denim, which is blue of course, and decided to put some bright blue eyeliner in my waterline. And I was like, okay. Not quite sure how that's gonna look, but it actually turned out really beautifully. So I'm gonna do that next. Okay, it never fails. I always forget one thing, so let me go get it. Okay, and then let's go ahead and put this. It's the Fervent Blue eyeliner. I'm just gonna put it in the waterline, right on top of all the other makeup I have on. This has a little bit of shimmer in it, so it's one of those a little goes a long way kinds of items. So again, one of those things that you can see when you're up close to someone, and I can see from here too that there's something a little bit different about my makeup, but it's not super obvious, at least not right away until you get close enough to talk to somebody. So some of the main takeaways for me were to avoid wearing shimmery things on areas that have texture, especially for me in the front. I've got those pores, just avoid shimmery things when possible and just apply it to the exterior in order to get that glow, but not also kind of make things look worse than they do. So actually my pores aren't evident when I have no makeup on. You can't really see that there are emphasized pores, I want to say, or like larger than normal pores. It's not until you put makeup on. So I've got to be really careful about the layers of makeup I put on. So actually one of the things that also happened is that there was some concealer that was applied that was a little bit too heavy, and it just made everything look bad too. So the first product I put on, the beige, is a very thin formula. So that also takes away from building up texture in that area. So if you don't need much coverage, but you have emphasized pores, the thinner the layer of makeup, the better it's gonna look. So if you have that issue and you don't have to worry about concealing like I do, that's a pretty quick fix. Just avoid putting heavy makeup in that area. The next thing that I picked up is to look at the palms of your hands to find out the shade, the natural shade that you would flush for your blush, which I think this is like the perfect shade for me, and something I think I always gravitate towards anyway when I look for a blush is something on that corally side, something on the warm side. And then with the eyes, I think it was a really fun thing to look at your hair in order to pick up some of the shades that you can incorporate into your eye makeup for it to all kind of come together. Not just this face area, but including your hair, because that's all one package right there. And then with the eyeliner, both using a brown eyeliner for the tightline area, and then with a brown mascara, it's just a much softer look, something I'd never tried before. And then going in with an even darker eyeliner just in the corner, so taking a shade, whatever shade that is, and then just deepening it up on the outer V here was something that just brings a lot of dimension, but again, it's not obvious. So I think that's what I liked about all of the tips that they talked about. These are things that just make your makeup look even better than it already looks, and just adds a little bit of dimension and interest without being super noticeable. So that's what I think I liked the most about this. And I loved how they did everyday makeup, again, and not something editorial or something that's just special occasion makeup, but makeup that you would use every day. So I really appreciated that. So I've been doing my makeup for almost 30 years now, and always love to learn new things. And so I was surprised that some of these things that I learned are things I haven't learned yet, because I feel like I read a lot about makeup, I watch a lot of videos about makeup. So I would love to know some of those tips that you might have that would help me, and I'd love to try them out. But if you try any of these tips, let me know. I'd love to know how they work for you. So if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks.